If you've ever wondered what a Tanuki dreams, then want to know more, Lunistice, from developer Grumpy Fox, aims to answer that question by dropping you into the dreams of Hana the Tanuki as you guide her towards her final destination, the moon. Welcome back to the 32-bit era of gaming, back to the days when the PlayStation 1 ruled the roost and the idea of 3D polygon-based gaming was blowing our minds, an age where mascot-driven 3D platformers ruled supreme, with simple and streamlined designs that stole away many hours of our lives. One of the first things you'll notice about Lunistice is its retro-inspired visuals. The game sports low polygon assets and models, paired with a bright and cheerful colour scheme. Its retro style, lack of anti-aliasing, and jagged polys are all a delight to behold, and will be right at home on the PlayStation 1 or Sega Saturn. And, as is the order of the day for any game channeling some form of retro nostalgia, there's a wonderful CRT overlay that you can enable too. Just don't let the visuals fool you though, as they work perfectly for a game that puts the platforming back into platforming, and is a whole heap of fun. You see, Lunistice has also taken the playbook of platformers from the 32-bit era to heart, so it's not just the visuals that the game developers have decided to ape, but game design as well. By modern standards, you might think Lunistice is as stripped back as you could get when it comes to game design and mechanics. However, that is, without doubt, its finest feature. Precision platforming at breakneck speed is the order of the day. This isn't a slow game, but rather one meant to propel you across its playspace like a cannonball, with some of the most thrilling, breathtaking platforming I've seen in quite some time. Level design is exceedingly tight and a masterclass in almost perfectly calibrated difficulty and precision. Of course, none of that would matter if the game ran poorly or controlled badly, and it's here that Lunistice is just as polished as in its design. There were no performance problems at all, regardless of how fast things were moving on screen. Similarly, the controls are just as tight and consistent. Hana is extremely responsive, with just the right amount of weight behind the way she moves, while jumps are perfectly spaced out and rails are easy to grind. Hana's goal is simply to make it to the end of a level. There are no XP bars to fill or skill trees to unlock, and her moveset is incredibly simple. Hana moves very fast by default, so there's just a button to slow her down to walking speed for a few precision moments, a tail attack, and a triple jump ability. That's it. With these core skills, you have what you need to make it through inspired courses that would make Sonic envious. Now there are enemies in the world, but no real combat to speak of, or any boss fights. Instead, the enemies act as mobile platforming obstacles for you to navigate. Whether they're rolling around on a thin path or flying between you and your targeted platform, they're just another thing for you to overcome as you blitz your way towards the end of the level. There are 7 worlds for you to explore in Lunistice, each one split into 2 levels, except for the last, which has 3 courses for you to make it through. The first course of each world is rather simple, there to gently break you into the level type and the challenges you're going to face, before the second level combines those mechanics with all the ones that you've encountered before. By the time you hit those final 3 levels, you'll have to have mastered every single mechanic as you tear through environments that also combine the visuals from the prior levels. Now, talking of mastery, you better be ready, as Lunistice will provide a challenge. It won't have you throwing your Switch at the wall, but it has, according to the developers, been designed for short bursts of play, so the game is challenging enough that you can expect hundreds of resets during your journey. As cathartic and exhilarating as the levels are, especially when you're grinding a rail tuck into a loop and then hurtle off into a distance clearing jump, there were plenty of moments that left my knuckles white and me breathing a sigh of relief when I finally hit the goal at the end. If you're after more than just faster clear times, there's collectible origami cranes that are scattered across each level, along with letters that spell out Hana's name. They are not required to complete each level, but they do affect the grade you're rewarded. At the end of the course, you're graded on speed, number of resets, and the amount of cranes you've collected. Resets are technically a death, with the counter climbing for each one suffered. As you might guess, Lunistice is going to be the perfect candidate for speedrunners, as, even on each reset, I found myself not only eager to get back onto the course to get to the end of the level, but also keen to tweak my route to find little ways I could shave time off my run. Of course, there are a few small niggles. The 3D camera doesn't pan up or down nearly enough, leaving you with a limited view and thus forcing you into some blind jumps and drops. Another annoyance is the balance meter that pops up right above Hana when grinding rails, further blocking your view as you hurtle towards the end. That said, these are small niggles in what is otherwise an excellently designed game. Now there are many games whose trailers or gameplay videos don't do themselves any justice, and I'd say Lunistice falls into that group. What the trailer had me expecting and what the developer delivered felt significantly different. The proof, as I say, is in the pudding, and the pudding here was actually playing Lunistice. No video could really do the game's phenomenal platforming, impeccable level design, and old-school fast-paced fun any justice. If you really want to know what Lunistice is, you'll just have to play it for yourself. If you love platformers, then you owe it to yourself to pick this up, and be reminded why the genre is so iconic, and remains so prevalent in the medium. If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like, and maybe subscribing to our channel, as it helps us grow.